Well, thanks for joining us on the Mick and Pat show. Whatever Pat decides to put before that we are talking about, who knows? But yeah, we're happy you're joining us, Ken. Sorry we took a week off last week, but yeah, we're back right now, and we have just a kind of relaxed show. Going to talk about some funny things. Talk about Comic-Con came to town, and neither of us had ever been, so definitely going to just kind of mention like what that experience was like. And then I have a gift for Pat. See, Pat has mentioned several times how AI, for some reason, when it's generating music in like these videos that people are posting, it seems to be generating music with like homoerotic undertones, which is hilarious. Nothing wrong with that. It's just funny. And especially like with the country music, it's really funny. So I have some AI generated music I worked on. And, you know, I rehearsed and developed with friends to really try to bring you something special tonight. A couple funny stories. But then, yeah, that's kind of what we are just going to go on, and we'll see where else that takes us. But before we get started, just want to again plug out, you know, to all of you who are listening in, please subscribe, like, and comment. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, anything else that you want to really, you know, whatever your taste is to listen on, we're probably there streaming. And with that as well, we have our sponsors who help support the show, and anything that you guys will go through those links and purchase, give a little small kickback to us and supports the channel, helps us continue to keep going on. Even though we were so not profitable, every little bit helps. And, you know what I mean? So check out Primary Arms for any firearm related needs. They got scopes and flashlights, actual firearms, as well as go through our Amazon link store to see what kind of products we buy through Amazon and support, and also sign up for Audible. You know, we love audiobooks. We got plenty to recommend, and you can just go right to the mickandpatshow.com and see right at the top some of our favorite audiobooks that you can just go through, take you right to Audible, get you a discount signing up. So anyways, all I said, we appreciate y'all. Pat, I did get reached out to, just by the way, to tell you this. I sent, you know, this very long video, this very detailed video on how I had jury-rigged a dry fire mag for the P320 to fit the flux.
Oh, yeah.
And its grip and all that. And I sent the video in an email with how I did it to the people at Dry Fire Mag, and I was like, hey, if you could make a product that could do this and wouldn't need any jury rigging, like that'd be sick, but here's how I did it. And they thought it was so cool that they offered us a sponsorship, because I was like,
awesome.
Yeah, I was like, also, we just love your stuff, and I have a podcast, and they're like, well, we'd love to be like, you should be an affiliate. So now, you know, Dry Fire Mag is hopefully going to be an affiliate as well, you know, as we go through that, but that'd be pretty sick. But with that, dude, Comic-Con, man. You know, I'm not here to be mean or dunk on anyone who likes to go to Comic-Con, because I will say, like, when I walked in through the doors, I was totally just big old smile on my face, seeing like the Ghostbusters people there set up with their Ghostbuster like table booth, and they're like putting the backpacks on kids and showing the kids how to do like the settings and blast ghosts. And I was like, this is awesome. There was immediately when I walked in, I saw 3 armed security guys who were part of a security company out of here, and
they're for real armed, not with like,
yeah, they had gun and 2 mags,
swords.
Yeah, and they were like very professional and like polite. They weren't like really rent-a-cop people, right? You know. And it was $25. It was cool. And I was pretty shocked. There was like some big, you know, I don't know what you would say, like geek nerd celebrities there that were signing stuff and doing meet and greets at tables. The guy who played the green ghost in Ghostbusters, like the green ooze ghost that flies around and is like green and slimy. The guy who puppeted that was there.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, that's cool. Like, I never knew who that guy was, but awesome. It was cool that he was there.
So were there a lot of people there?
There was easily, when I went at like 3 p.m. on Saturday. It was done by 6, right? It was going to be done by 6 on Saturday. So I went way after probably like the main bulk of people went, and it was still like over 1,000 people.
Wow.
So, and like, you know, it was like our small town, like event center. You know, this isn't like, we're not talking like San Antonio or LA here. We're talking pretty rural. And so it was pretty cool. Everyone seemed very nice. I will say, it was very hard to determine what pronouns people wanted to go by for the most. Like, I'll say like 20% of them were very like, how do you want me to refer to you if we interact? And then 80% was like very clearly like, that's a chick, that's a dude. Male, female.
And because is Comic-Con I don't know, is it a broad term?
It is.
Or is there an
like,
official, is there an official Comic-Con that puts on
I think all
events, you know?
I mean, I think Comic-Con is like a sponsored, or not sponsored, but org, you know, that is like sets up these things, and like you apply to have a Comic-Con in your town, or you have to coordinate it, and it's all volunteer based or something. I'm not sure, but Comic-Con definitely probably at one point was about comics, and now it expanded into like covering like film, TV, movies, video games, board games, you know, just aesthetic of like a ton of stuff. So all that said, it was very enthusiastic. Everyone dressed in their like funny costumes and like doing actual cosplay. Like I saw a couple cosplays that I was like, wow, that is straight up an anthropomorphic person.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, like that is a very like, that's not like a plushy furry suit. I'm like, that looks like a werewolf walking around. And then there was other ones that I was like, that is to a T Jurassic Park, like staff vest and shorts and everything, and they were posing with the car. The other one I saw was like just people being like fantasy characters from like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and I was like, that looks like a tiefling, like a devilish person. And it was very convincing, and it was very well done. Like people put thousands and thousands of dollars into these costumes.
People put hours into this.
It's very impressive.
I was in a customer's house, and it was like her whole basement was all that. It was all bins and beads and like sewing needles and like,
I bet she was at Comic-Con.
Rubber thing, you know, like just like whatever to craft these. And she had these crazy suits that she was making on the mannequins. I think like a distant third cousin or something they're like all in. Whereas like that's what they do. All like their hobby is building the costume for whatever the next event is.
Really?
And they go hard.
That's cool. Yeah, it is surprising because like if I built one, I'd wear it. Like if I built a Master Chief costume, I'd wear Master Chief everywhere.
Yeah, all the time.
But they like build it for one event and then they just toss it, or not toss it, but like they recycle it, repurpose it, and they just do another one, and they're like one and done. I'm like, there's a lot of work for one and done.
Oh yeah,
not real. You won't catch me doing that, but yeah. So those are some of like the positive things, dude. There was this group of military vets. I think they were all like from Corps of Engineers or something like that, but they were all supposed to be veterans. And they had built the most sophisticated R2-D2s I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
Like straight up infrared sensor and like insanely quick playback. Like whatever you say, they were responding to. And there was a part where like I was talking, I was like, wow, this thing's insane. And it like responded with my voice, but synthesized in under a second.
Oh my god!
And like the guy, like he had no joysticks in hand or anything like that. And he showed me he had a controller to like steer it if needed be and press buttons or something. But he's like, yeah, it's also you just program it to do stuff. And like it just like I was like, wow, this is so cool. And it was like, this is so cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude! I don't remember. I looked right over. It was pretty cool because there's this chick who was definitely just a pretty like, you know, I would say upper middle class, very attractive by modern standards mom. And she was definitely there with her kiddos, showing them around and stuff, not cosplaying. And it was like her and I had this moment where we looked at each other from these R2-D2s, and both of us were like, this is the coolest thing I've seen here that is not like kind of silly. You know what I mean? It was like it registered in both our brains.
That's
and
awesome.
the guys took a moment to show us around, like show us them and how they work, and it was pretty sick. All the Star Wars stuff was also like, you're like, oh yeah, okay.
He's just
like,
kind of king.
the Star Wars is easily the king of like replicas and making. I think I showed you a picture of like all the clone trooper heads on pikes.
Yep.
That were like, those were awesome.
Those
like,
are
I was
super
like, this
cool.
is so life size.
Yeah, that was a huge display. And I think maybe, gosh, I want to get a droid that's just a radon monitor. Like its main function is that, but you just like show up at people's houses with an R2 droid, and it just comes in, and you're like, what is that? And like, this is the radon monitor. And it just like, you can also
all this
talk to it if you want.
sophisticated technology, and he just monitors radon. Yep, he just makes it my job easier.
Yeah, and funner.
It's like that bit from Rick and Morty. He's like, what is my purpose? It's like, you cut and spread butter on toast. Oh my God, kill me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty cool. But I will say the stereotype holds very strong at Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of the most like accurate things that like, I don't even know if you could say a stereotype if it's the truth. Like, I think there were like 5 bearded ladies that weren't makeup. Like it was just ladies with beards.
Yeah.
And then there was definitely like the spectrum of the spectrum primarily, you know, when we're talking like a bell curve, right? Of, you know, persons there were the like obscenely overweight, really like struggling to enjoy the time there and like making it known to everybody, right? Like they're like, I'm not having fun because I'm having to walk around and there's not enough places to kind of sit and chill. And then the like, if the wind blows, you will get picked up with leaves and blow away like skinny body, you know what I mean? And like there was hardly anything in between. I'm exaggerating, right? But like that was like definitely like, you're like, wow, that is the demographic. It's both ends of that. It like very rarely you find like just a average person body type. You know what I mean?
Like some words that do come to mind would be like pasty. And,
honestly, no. Let me correct you on that. Let me correct you on that. I think there were way more Hispanic and Asian and Indian people than there were like white people. Like I think white people were not the majority, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, you know, 25%, 20%. You know what I mean? Like it was not predominantly pasty white people.
So it'd be like pasty if you could be. Like, you know, like lots of like,
like you'd
lots
be
of
in your
time,
house,
lots
not
of time,
outside.
you know, like, you know, I'll go and, you know, I'm in tons of customers' houses and things too, where, you know, just like you go in people's houses and just like, there is like, we were in this one dude's house the other day and it was just straight up like, he is in his 40s in mom's basement.
Oh, damn.
With like lots of like trinkety model type things, you know, like, the things he's into, I bet he could talk forever about the things he's into.
Sure,
but
I bet he knows it.
You know, but those universes.
He also lives in his mom's basement.
Yeah, like those things he talks about may be all like fictional universe. But anyways, but it was just like, you know, there's that like people get all in, dude. People go all in.
Yeah. It was pretty sick. But it was also kind of like, it was kind of sad. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm gonna be 100% honest. There were things that I saw that I was like, wow, that's really impressive. That is a real commitment to the craft. And like, I respect anyone who can put that labor of love in it for a passion. And then I saw other things where I'm like, I wish I had the courage to tell you that your life could be better if you just put some effort into it.
It's either,
you know what I mean?
multi-$1,000 costumes or sweatpants.
But honestly too, like I imagine if you go to PlumberCon, it's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I imagine you go to PlumberCon, there's like, you're going to see people who you're like, oh my God, you miserable person. Like someone needs to like have a intervention for you in your lifestyle.
How much butt crack is at a PlumberCon? I mean,
I bet they take posed photos of everyone just bending over and showing their butts.
Just like
dude, someone out there is like been to PlumberCon and be like, they know.
Like, they're like, on average, a PlumberCon brings in like, if like you could wrap like, what it's like 14 football fields of crack. You know, out of PlumberCon.
I will say the other thing too was like, you walk in the doors of this convention, and for some reason it felt like the AC was not on at all, and it was like it went from like immediately kind of like humid, slight sweaty smell, and it would just go to like the most like sour, rancid, like not bathed in months smell. Like it just depended who were you behind.
Yeah.
It never once smelled good.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, why aren't they opening doors? Like, there's clearly not air circulating in this room.
It looked like from the pictures you're somewhere kind of old, like a school, or it wasn't like an event
it was,
center.
it was an event center.
Yeah.
It was an activity center here in town. That like it's definitely aged now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like we have a
right.
ton of huge brand new. It's not like it's on the university campus. You know what I mean?
For sure.
The other thing that was cool was like they just had like 2 giant rooms of just like anyone who wanted to sell something, like get a table, come up, sell stuff. And I saw some pretty impressive like artwork that was like being done live there, and people were selling. And then I saw definitely just like booths of just like 3D printed and AI generated stuff that I'm like, I cannot believe someone's gonna pay $10 for this.
Yeah.
Like it cost 9 cents to print it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then lastly, the other stuff that I saw being sold was a ton of like writers trying to sell their books. And like no one had like, this is my first book. Like, here we go. Like, check my book out. I have a plan. Here's my book. Everyone was like, this is my 30th book. Please buy it. And like, you're just like, dude, if you're here still peddling these books and I've never heard of you, and you got 30 some book, and like no one, like I was walking around for a while just baiting if there was anything I wanted to buy. Never once was so like, oh my God, you're the author of whatever. Right. And like everyone just couldn't care less. And I was like, bro, like this hurts.
How many of those are out there?
There had to be 30 tables of novelists like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like you hear about that like in LA, there's like behind production companies or like production companies or whatever, like there's like just dumpsters full of like screenplays.
Oh yeah.
Never, like just like
I'm sure
to
there
never
is.
see the light of day.
Yeah.
That's would be the same with books too. And I mean, I can't even imagine like being able, like I don't think I could write one book.
I could. I'm trying to write a book right now.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you could, but like I don't think I could. I've got two. I speak in two.
I think
short.
I think you could.
I could write 3 sentences.
You know, Marcus Luttrell came out with Operation Red Wing.
Oh yeah.
And then the other guy who helped him write the book, because Marcus Luttrell can't write.
Is he ghostwriter or whatever?
Yeah, it's not like. It's like not hidden ghostwriter.
Right.
But
like
it's literally
co-author.
Yeah, it's called like the memoir of Marcus Luttrell written by so and so. You know what I mean? And like it's clearly Marcus's memoir, but it's very clearly also like written by this dude who's like writing down what Marcus said, right? So I'm trying to find the book real quick. Sorry guys, but I think that's like a very valid form of like telling a story. Patrick Robinson. So like Marcus Luttrell's the author, right? It's his story, but Patrick Robinson like helped put it into words.
But I bet some of these guys at Comic-Con's books were like, I bet they weren't short. I bet there were short books too, but I bet there were a couple guys.
I think everything looked like an average, like everything looked to be averaging like 300 or more pages.
Right, like they've created a world.
Yeah,
if they're on book 30, you know, like it's a whole thing. Man,
this one guy was selling his books. Oh, dude, I don't want to say it because I don't want people to like harass him. Here's the thing: I will never condone harassment. I will never condone brigading. I'll never condone like bullying online or stuff like that. Of like, oh yeah, let's go make fun of this dude and like his bad books. Now, like it's different if someone's like a pedophile. Then I'm like, yeah, let's go like freaking tear them out of their house and charge them for their crimes. You know what I mean? But like some people just got nothing better than to do than be like dickheads on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, I'm not going to say the book series.
Yeah.
But he was very enthusiastic about it. And he was explaining to me the premise of it. And it was like to me and like 5 other people who were standing around because he had like snagged our attention by being really loud.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't like, come on. It was just like, hey! We were like, whoa, what the fuck? And like, he's like, do you like science? And I was just like, I was too bewildered. I was a deer to the headlights, bro. I was like, what? And he was like, just explaining how this book follows real life scientists, but in a universe where each of them received powers regarding to the scientific laws and theories that they helped pen.
It's like Newton just like
yeah
can't stand up because there's so much gravity.
I just was looking at the artwork. He was explaining it, and I was like, sick, bro. I don't know how many people want to read about like nuclear Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Like just Albert Einstein, but he's Superman. And so, but I mean, I don't know. All that said, I am very enthusiastic for those people because they're clearly passionate about what they're writing about. And I hope they make it and break it. Mm-hmm. You know, at the same time though, you just see so many other people who are just trying to scam stuff. And that was like that pissed me off quite a bit. Cause like I used to do a side hustle of printing and painting stuff. We sold a ton of coronavirus models that we 3D printed and hand painted.
Oh yeah.
And we sold them, like we painted them really well. The printing quality was really high. We sold them to museums during COVID. We sold them to bars.
Nice.
Yeah, there's like some museum in the UK that is like displaying the models we printed and painted.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty sick. But like we charged for like hours of our time and material costs. And we still were like undercharging like when we were doing certain prices. And I see guys out here who like, I could see the like print supports still attached to the model on some places. And I could tell it's just going to be like a fragile piece of crap, like from an FDM printer. And they're like 3D printing it in like cool colors that change. And they're like, for $15, you can have this dragon for your table. And I'm like, just looking in my head, I'm like, dude, that costs like 25 cents in filament to print. Yeah, sure, the printer is printing for like, I don't know, 3 hours. But that's not like your work time. And to be fair, also, a lot of other people seem to be catching on to it and not buying it either. You know what I mean? There's a ton of product sitting around. But those were kind of the two things you saw at the booths, or like the pricing stuff. People very passionate about something that was very original and was very cool, even if not a lot of people were into it. And then just people who were there trying to make a quick buck and trying to pull the wool over people's eyes with stuff they were printing.
Yeah, because lots of the cheap 3D printer stuff is like really good for prototyping. You know, like
it's
kind of
great
like that, but like,
yeah.
but not for necessarily final products of things.
Well, and I think it's great for like, I mean, we use the FDM printer when we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We've printed out like terrain.
Oh yeah.
But like when you're printing out a mountain or trees or buildings, like you don't need super high detail. And honestly, like the roughness of a FDM print looks cool when you like paint it up and you just put it on the table. It's like you immediately like, oh, that's a rock, that's a tree, that's a dragon skull, you know. But like we also just know like behind the veil that costs like pennies to print, you know what I mean, and materials and stuff. And so it's just not worth the cost for a lot of the stuff that like people charge out there, because they are charging it to people who don't know. And people are like, oh, I don't have a 3D printer, so I'll never be able to buy this or get this because like it relies on people printing it. And it's like, dude, just go to Etsy. You can find the stuff like made in bulk. You know, you could get 10 for $10.
Right.
So anyways, that was cool. It was cool. They had a ton of classes that I thought were interesting. A lot of classes about how to make your own costume. A lot of classes about world building, writing books, writing movies, like plays and stuff, screenplays. How to be a better game master. The one I really missed that I wanted to go to because I had no idea this was going on. I just walked in because I heard about it. Saw a sign. There was one on how to make your, like how this, it was like a class that said how I made my own $2 million board game and sold it. I was like, I would 100% sit in it. Like,
Yeah.
I love board games. I love game night, whether it's D&D or just like a Phase 10. Like, I love games.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I would have loved to listen to someone who made a successful game and sold it as a property, you know?
Mm-hmm. And some of those games, man, if they catch on even for like one Christmas season.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
not
A lot of it, I
business
feel
move,
like,
you know?
I would assume a lot of it's Kickstarter too.
Right.
Like, it raised $3 million on Kickstarter. After operation costs and all that, like, I kept, you know, $1 million of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, damn, do it again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was cool. It was cool. It was a little stinky. There were some people who were like, you know, there were definitely some people who you were like, you felt bad for,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, good for you for at least getting up and coming out. But man, dude, oh my gosh, there was so many. It was just like, the stereotypes are real. Like, I can't even express, like, it's like, it's, I feel like they know it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way they would deny that or even find it offensive if you were like, if I drew a picture of someone that I saw there,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine anyone being offended. You know what I mean? They'd be like, yeah, no, that's it. That guy, that person is literally at every Comic-Con, like
Right.
in an incarnation of one kind or another.
Uh-huh.
And like, it's the same thing that you're imagining in your head right now as you're listening to this.
Oh, yeah.
That's who's at Comic-Con. And it was cool. Everyone's got their thing and their outlet, and it's a safe, harmless one. So I think it was pretty sick. I would go to a bigger one because I think there'd be more stuff for sale,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there'd probably be even more like cool celebrities from
Right.
things that I'd recognize.
Like if you got to see Shatner, it'd be pretty cool.
Dude,
You know?
my dream would be to see Bruce Campbell, who was like
Oh, yeah.
the guy in Evil Dead and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, he was like the classic like horror movie B-lister guy for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really funny too. But anyways, it's pretty tight. Would you ever go? Would you go to a Comic-Con now, Pat, after I braved the expanses?
I would go. And I think I would have to dress up. Because but the hard
Here's
thing
the thing
about
too,
this
bro,
about it
like-
is if you don't go full out, like I feel like I would go full out and I'd show up and feel very under costumed.
Yeah, my thing is like, here's what I think is interesting, right? Is that like, I've never been a big like dress up guy.
Mm.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now as I'm older, like I love doing stuff for Halloween more. But like, I'm really into like Dungeons and Dragons and like just kind of that aesthetic, like doing, whether it's painting minis or, you know, designing maps or terrain or making custom music for a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really into that, but I'm just not that into the idea of like dressing up for Comic-Con or like, you know, dressing up as like a character from a book or something.
Mm.
And bro, like, I feel like you've never played Dungeons and Dragons or done anything like that. And I've never been like, you don't have like a huge passion of that. But I think if someone was like, I'll cover the cost, you know, you just need to go as Legolas to Comic-Con for 8 hours. I think you'd be like immediately down. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
I like to
You're an exhibitionist.
yeah, I like to be the
Look
to
at my
show up
body.
something and like show up with like the best, coolest costume. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like when we do this super small example, but like when we have a small town 4th of July parade every,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that our family will enter every couple of years down in Texas, and like I like to win that thing. You know, like I like my float to be awesome, and
Mhm.
the stuff I'm wearing, I want it to be cool. Like, you know, like whatever it is, like it's just like it's awesome. I got to be Batman once, and one time, I don't know if I told this story on here before. It's like one time we all dressed up as Batman characters. I got to be Batman, and we were we're going through the parade, and this town has like a traditional old square in it.
Oh, yes.
And so the parade basically comes in from, you know, out of the square. You come in and then you do a U and leave. And as you're coming, there's lots of people. But once you get in the square, that's where there's thousands and thousands of people packed in there. And I was, everybody's walking, and we had a van that was, my grandpa just found this van that was a good deal with low miles, but it was black with the gold Batman logos on it.
Oh,
It was
that's awesome.
the Bat van, dude. So we, as we're walking in, we're getting close to the square. I almost bought the $400 like Christian Bale full suit for this.
Yeah.
I didn't. I got the cheaper version.
Yeah.
But this kid with special needs over in the corner, and like, and he like, you could tell that he thought I was real.
He was like, "Oh, that's Batman,"
you know. Yeah. And like, I went over there and was like giving him 5, like giving him a hug, take some pictures, and I mean, this kid was so stoked to be with Batman.
Yeah,
that was an incredible feeling. And then what happened next was I'd been with him so long, like the van and the group of people all dressed as Batman characters and villains had moved into the square, the main area. And we didn't plan this, but they had moved into there. And obviously everybody's like, well, where's Batman? You know, right? And so I came running down. I had like a good like 50-yard run to catch up, and I'm running in full speed. And as I'm running, I hear people start cheering. Like, and like a big enough crowd, it is like the like,
oh yeah.
And then I just vaulted off of the bumper of the van onto the roof, holding my cape, and landed. And the place erupted full, just freaking out, dude. And I was like, it gets you high.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Gets you a little bit high.
I bet you feel like a tear shed.
Oh yeah,
I mean?
It was great.
This is the pinnacle of my life.
It may have been.
Because here's what's even better, bro. It's like, what is it better, to be Batman on screen where everyone is told to cheer for you and it's part of the movie and it makes everyone watch and go and all, or to be Batman to a crowd of people and it's genuine applause?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was.
I think I've had like similar experiences like that too. You know, like I don't know necessarily to that extent of like that kind of like total hype, but like I know. I think I told you. I think I've talked about the gorilla story on here, right?
I don't know if you have.
The high schoolers, when I was a camp counselor, brought up a gorilla costume. Have I told you this?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. All right. So I was a camp counselor one summer, and I'll say, you know, this is costume story insert here because I still want to show you the AI music. I'm not trying to distract. And this isn't nearly as cool as like having a crowd of people applause for me. But it is my like only claim to fame of like one night. I was like, one night I'll put it on, and that we'll see what happens. These high schoolers came up. It was the last week of this summer camp I was a counselor at in college, and it was down in Colorado Springs. And these campers come up, and all of them except for one had been to this camp for like every single summer in a row, and they were all seniors now, or going into their senior year. So this was going to be their last year of camp before. You know, they had, because after you graduate high school, you don't go to camp again, you go off to college. And so they were like, yeah, man, can we please like go out with like a huge show? Like, and like they clearly knew camp better than I did. They're like, oh, do you know so-and-so? He was our counselor last year. Do you know so-and-so? He was our counselor the year before that. I was like, guys, this is my one summer here. Like, I don't know anybody. But they were so enthusiastic, man, that it just swept me up in it. And they're like, hey, yeah, can we show you this? Like, we don't want to get in trouble, but can we show you this? I'm like, oh God, they have a gun. Yeah. You know, something like that. And like they unzip a backpack. And I'm just like, what is that? And I just see the black fur, the rubber gorilla mask. And they pull out, they're like, yeah, we got this gorilla suit. And it looks really good. Like it had to be over $100. Like it had like a good one. It had like some chest padding, some shoulder padding. And it was like it was a single suit with the zipper on the back, but when you zipped it up, like you didn't see the zipper at all. So, and it wasn't like separate head parts. The only thing that was like separate was the gloves, because you put your hands through and then you pull the gloves over, and it kind of like constricts onto your wrist. But I was like, look, guys, yeah, you can wear this. And then I just stopped for a minute and I was like thinking in my head, I was like, or we can get the whole boys camp with it and scare them to God and back. And like they were like, what? And I was like, hear me out. What if we just start telling people that a gorilla escaped from the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo? For anyone who doesn't know, the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is in Colorado Springs on Cheyenne Mountain, and there are gorillas. And I was like, we could totally sell it, because I'll go to the staff here, because the staff always does announcements of like, hey, counselors, be on the lookout for this, you know, and like we have had it very commonly, you know, it'd be week on, week off.
Yeah, bears.
Like, bears are chipmunks. Like, hey, counselors, remember, no going out at night because of the mountain lion that's been seen around. And it wasn't like, that was not a bit. That was literally like, hey, like, seriously, there's animals around, be careful. And I was like, I'll get this chick who does the announcements all the time. She's like a staff person.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'll get her in on it. And she'll give us the sign off, and I'll get permission from, all the staff people for us to be out super late so we can prank everybody. And at the same time, my buddy who I ended up baptizing that summer, he had a cabin full of like the most inner city, like gang violent kids from Denver. Just like they were all like kids who were like, yeah, I'm into norteños, and like, we'll fucking give you stitches, Holmes, if you mess with us. Don't tell us what to do. And like, he's like, you guys want to go jump off the dock onto the blob? And they're like, no. And like they were all too cool. Yeah. But none of them were like remotely prepared for the outdoors. Oh, you know what I mean? Like they were all there, and like I think it was, the more they opened up and the more we got to know them, there was just like, yeah, I don't have like boots. You know what I mean? Like I don't have shorts. I'm just in jeans and sweaty the whole time. So, but like he was having such a rough time because he's also just like a Nebraska good old boy. So he's like, we don't relate on anything. So I remember they were just giving him such a hard time, and he was struggling with them because they were too cool. And as we were kind of hyping up, like at like the first lunch that day, they made an announcement like, hey, we do have to say this, but like there is a PSA from the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo that a gorilla has escaped, and we need to be like actually serious about this, guys. It's a security risk. And none of the counselors have any phones with access to Wi-Fi or like cell phone. So all the counselors are like, what? Yeah, dude, like, holy God. And I'm like, it's just me and like two other counselor guys that I told about it that are like in on it. And then like the staff. And so everyone's like, that's crazy. And like there's legit like other girl counselors and dude counselors who are like, no, we can't go do like night games in the woods. There's a gorilla. Yeah, he'll peel you like a banana. Yeah, and like everyone, I had to like start passing around to the counselors because I didn't want the campers to miss out. Right. So I had to start going to the counselors, like, no, like only the counselors I trusted not to spoil it. It's like, it's a bit. There is no gorilla, but it's just to hype up the campers for something going on this week. And they're like, oh, okay, all right. And to the props, like we were all tight that summer. It was the last week, so everyone was kind of down to play along. And anyways, the couple nights, like it was like first night, second night, and third night, I would just go out at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and just have an alarm, and I would just like be out in the woods. What is that? In Rampart Range, right? And I just crawl out and just go. And just like let it echo across, bro. And like the next day it was the best because I was telling my campers, I was like, you guys got to play it cool. Like no matter what no one says, you cannot laugh because there will be high schoolers that come up to you and say stuff. And sure enough, bro, I remember we were like hanging out as like a cabin, and these other boys were like, you guys hear the gorilla last night? And like they were just like, I could see some of them were like about to break, and like, no, bro, what are you talking about? And like I was like, boys, hold it together. And like kids were getting scared. It was awesome to like see these high schoolers like, yeah, but like, did you hear that gorilla? Like, and some were like, no, that was just people playing around. So it was like Thursday night, bro, or Wednesday night, I can't remember. It was like the fourth night, and I put on the gorilla suit. And I told the staff, I was like, please don't shoot me with a shotgun. I'm not a bear. Because they've shot bears up there. You know what I mean? And I put on the gorilla suit and the mask, and I start just going around like on my knuckles and like squat haunches. And I'm just like, first just going around the perimeter of the boys' camp and snapping twigs and not being careful. And like, I can hear people in their cabins because they're not quiet. They're like, what's that outside? And I can hear them. They're just like, what is that? like I can hear counselors like, go back to bed. Like they're not playing along. And then I start going into like the orange sodium light lamps on the dirt road, just the intermittent ones, and just and then like move off, and I could hear them like losing their marbles. Like some campers are like, oh my God, like and I go up to the cabin that my buddy was at with these Hispanic inner city kids from Denver. And they had gone swimming, and I remember some of them had brought swimsuits up and all that stuff. So they had their swimsuits out on the deck of the cabin, drying off. And I just started like picking them up,
monkey throwing them,
and like picking up, like, and like just tossing them off, and like just letting them slap on the window or the screen door. And that's the thing, too. The cabin, it's just a screen door. There is no like real barrier door. And I can hear them like. Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you could put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution. This might sound like stereotype, but like I seriously, I heard him like, "Hey Holmes, hey Holmes," and let's just say that my buddy's name, his name was John. Like, "Hey Holmes, Counselor John, yeah. What is on the porch?" Like, I can just remember hearing him inside. He's like, "Go to sleep. There's nothing on the porch," and like he's playing along. Mm-hmm. He knew I was coming, and they're like, I just hear these kids like, "Madre de Dios, the gorilla," and like they're losing their mind, and they start crying in there. Like these hardcore street kids are crying. You're like, "Counselor Holmes, Counselor John, please," and like he finally wakes up. He's like, "Oh my God, boys, get back!" And like I can hear him like he's like, "I'm gonna try to scare it off." And like he goes up and he starts pounding on the glass. I stand up and I start like, like pounding on the grass, and I just run off. And I did a little bit of other stuff. Like I went up to like windows, and I would just put my monkey like gorilla nose against it and just nostril flare like the fog on the window. And just listen to kids like cry, and then I'd run away. And then the next day we announced it was a prank, and like we came out with the gorilla costume because people were so upset and kids were like not having fun anymore. But for that one night, it was awesome, bro. And like I remember I got back to the cabin, I climbed in through the back window of our cabin, and my boys, man, they heralded me like I was Spider-Man, bro. Oh, yeah. They were like, "Don't drown, like he's a hero," you know. I was, you know, those boys loved me and would have died for me that week. Oh yeah. But anyways, that was my costume.
That's what it's about.
That was the peak of my costume experience.
That's what it's all about. I feel like I squandered my long hair at not going into a Comic-Con costume with
right,
it, you know.
It's just a season away.
I just have to bring it back.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can grow back in a year.
Gorilla suits. There's always good gorilla suit stories out. That's a good one.
It was. I mean, you know, I asked kids after that too, like campers or kids who would go back, and I always use that story as a way of recruiting counselors for the camp years later. I was like, you could do fun stuff like this. That was the only story I ever told.
Yeah.
But I'd ask like them, and be like, "Did the campers talk about it?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude. So the campers loved it. Like they're the legend of the gorilla is real, bro." I'm like, that's awesome.
It lived on.
Yeah,
it lived on. That's great stuff, man.
Anyways, all right. So here's my beef though with this band. I'm gonna play this song for you. I think those videos saying that AI is just generating homoerotic country music on its own.
I think they're being prompted to do that.
Yes, it's not real. Yeah. It's definitely cut. Because like I went through hundreds of iterations just trying to like not even tell it, but just give it opportunity to. I was like, song about a man and his buddy.
Right.
And it was like a song about him and his dog or his pal, but it never was like subtle erotic. And I was like, all right, well, let's just give it what the people want. People think it's hilarious when country songs are kind of like, will they, won't they?
A little Brokeback.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, there's a reason that everyone thinks that's funny. And so here we go. And these are like, I really challenge anyone to find anything offensive in these songs. Like, I can't think of how anyone would be offended. They're just very interesting how the AI generates. So this one I reprompted it. It was a hillbilly country pop rock, jailhouse rock. And I just wanted it to, we went through a couple iterations, but we got to this one where it was the singer of the song is retelling about how he knew a guy in jail who would always talk about his hunting trips with his buddy. But they're kind of sus hunting trips. So this is Hunting Tales.
Met a man in a cell block stone, told his story loud and long. Said he went on a hike with his friend, just 2 men to the very end. Talked of nights warm by the fire, shared some laughs, no sign of ire. Said they kept each other warm,
I just say you the lyrics.
Friends through the storm. He said, no, it's not what you think. Just 2 buddies on a kind of brink. Shared a bed, but nothing more. Platonic bond forevermore.
Like a little bit of Willie Nelson, right?
Laid out tales of kills and thrills, whispered secrets on the hills. In the tent, their bodies close. For their bond, no one knows. Asked again about the night's embrace, saw the flush come to his face. Hold his gaze and stand so tall, but in the cracks I saw it all.
Just imagine, this is great.
He said, no, it's not what you think. Just 2 buddies on a kind of brink. Shared a bed, but nothing more. Platonic bond forevermore.
Man, this is great. It does a chorus. That's crazy, bro. The AI did that, you know?
Oh, it's wild, man.
All right, so this next one, I wanted to do a legitimate country ballad story, the good old ones of sometimes Larry the Cable Guy would do it for his tracks on his comedy album or something.
Poncho and Lefty.
Yeah, or kind of almost what was it? Was it Dirksen Gentry? No, it was Montgomery Gentry. Dirksen Bentley. Montgomery Gentry. Rest in peace. But their song Something to Be Proud Of is borderline just a story of a young man to
that song kind of makes me
I always
get
cry.
goosebumps and
I always cry every time.
You know.
Miss me by a hair.
Yeah. Dude, that line gets you there.
Dude. Oh, dude. But this one is supposed to be kind of in that vein of comedy ballad story. I did give it a full story. I wrote the whole story and I said, now I want it in at least 8 verses. But I got limited by having only up to 3,000 characters and lyrics. So I shorted it down. And so there's a couple of things that might not make sense because of how the AI generated the rhyming scheme. At one point it says something about advice. There's no advice other than the chorus of the song of enjoy your life or whatever. But anyways, this is called Beautiful Land, and it's a story about a trucker.
All right.
And his trucking adventures. Here we go. Oh, wait. Wrong one. Second iteration.
I was rolling down the highway somewhere in Tennessee. Picked up a gal, she was stranded, just her and me. She said, thanks for the ride, I owe you one, you bet. But I kept my cool, said, ma'am, no need to fret.
Harmonic action in there.
Send me the
She had a
lyrics.
twinkle in her eye, tried to put on a show, but I waved her off. Said, no ma'am, no need to go. She smiled real wide, said, you're a real good guy. Didn't know then how that luck would fly. I'm just a trucker, driving all night long. Didn't know my life would turn into a honky-tonk song. Picked up a stranger, thought I'd lend her a hand. Never thought it'd end with me barely able to stand.
What could that mean? What could that allude to?
A few days later in West Virginia's hills, had to stop at a rest stop. Nature called with chills, found a stall and sat down, just doing my biz. But what happened next, man, gave me the shivers and whiz. Reached for the teepee to finish up my chore, but there was something extra poking through that stall door. I nearly jumped and my heart took a skip when I saw that fella's Willie peeking through the toilet paper strip. I'm just a trucker, driving all night long. Didn't know my life would turn into a honky-tonk song. Picked up a stranger, thought I'd lend her a hand. Never thought it'd end with me barely able to stand.
It's a real trucking story.
Tried to make a run, pants down to my knees, but I tripped on my boots, hit the floor with a wheeze. That other trucker started throwing fists and feet. We were rolling around, tearing up the bathroom suite. We hit the urinal, slammed against the sink. He knocked off my hat, I was starting to think that this was the end in a nasty place, when suddenly she appeared with fire on her face. That gal from before came in like a storm. She grabbed the trucker, showed him some farm-grown form. With one swift punch, she knocked him out cold. Saved my sorry butt, didn't do what I was told.
Also that part. Don't know what he was told. But that's what I picked for the rhyme.
Didn't know my life would turn into a honky-tonk song. Picked up a stranger, thought I'd lend her a hand. Never thought it'd end with me barely able to stand. Now here we are, years down the road, she's my trucker queen. Together we've rode, got 3 little ones, a trucker's paradise, all thanks to that day and some very strange advice.
Don't know what it was.
Just leave it to the mystery.
Yeah.
So here's to the road and the folks you meet. You never know who'll knock you off your feet, but keep on trucking, keep your heart on the wheel. You might just find a love that's the real deal. I'm just a trucker, driving all night long. Didn't know my life would turn into a honky-tonk song. Picked up a stranger, thought I'd lend her a hand. Now we're riding together across this beautiful land.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that's not like a classic country ballad song.
Hey, there it is.
All right, this one we went. This one's called "Whiskey on the Jukebox."
That's a great name for
and
a
my
song.
buddy was like, "Hey, what if we just let AI run everything here? We give it no prompting,
And
other
just
than
give it
like the
title
basic, the basic
and the
idea,
theme, or
I was
like the style, title and the style."
I was like, all right. I mean, I think it's going to need more help. He's like, let's just see. And sure enough, it was like, what do you want the song to be about? I was like, okay, see, we need to do something. He's like, all right, a song. He's like, a country song with homoerotic undertones and denial. And I was like, all right. And so like I just gave that to the AI and it just like started trying to generate the lyrics. I was like, this is kind of struggling, but whatever. And he's like, don't even read the lyrics. Just tell it more homoerotic. And I was like, all right. And I did it. And he was like, don't read the lyrics. Tell it more denial. And I was like, all right. And he's like, more denial. And I gave it like, I did it 3 times, like absolute. It was like, and he's like, all right, now one last time, just max it all out. He's like, maximum homoeroticism, maximum denial. And I was like, all right. And so this is what it generated after, like, we didn't even read the lyrics of the other iterations. This was just the final one. I got to say, it's like everyone I've shown the song has said like, that could be a real hit. Like that, of all the things I've heard, that's like the most impressive, possibly like a huge hit. Whiskey on the Jukebox.
I can't believe it can do this.
I was sitting at the bar just trying to drown my mind when he walked in all swagger and charm, the kind that's hard to find. I watched him move across the room but it didn't mean a thing. Just another cowboy passing by, like the whiskey burning my skin.
Whiskey burning my
There's
skin?
Whiskey on the jukebox playing songs of old regret. I'm not thinking about him, no, there's nothing there to get. The neon lights are flashing, but I'm cool, I'm in control. He's dancing with another, and it ain't touching my soul. He's got his hands on her waist, pulling her close, but it's just a dance. It's the whiskey in my veins that's making me steal a glance. We used to laugh and carry on, two buddies having fun. But now I'm feeling something else, and I'm sure it's nothing, just a little too much sun. There's whiskey on the jukebox playing songs of old regret. I'm not thinking about
Whiskey on the
him,
jukebox just goes
there's
hard.
nothing
Yeah.
there to
This is
get.
a hard lie, dude.
That's a good line.
Neon lights are flashing, but I'm cool, I'm in control. He's dancing with another, and it ain't touching my soul. So I tip my hat to the man she's got wrapped around her side. And I laugh it off, it's just the booze, there's nothing here to hide.
Denial.
The bottle's getting lighter, but my thoughts are still the same. I'll be here when the music stops, with no one left to blame. There's whiskey on the jukebox playing songs of old regret. I'm not thinking about him, no, there's nothing there to get. The neon lights are flashing, but I'm cool, I'm in control. He's dancing with another, and it ain't touching my soul. Yeah, he's dancing with another, and I'm stuck here in the dark with whiskey on the jukebox, trying to ignore the spark.
Bro. This is the result of you know, just two buddies hanging out down in the basement playing on the computer, right? Not homoerotic.
Denial.
Just making gay songs. Not gay though. Okay, we're not gay. We're just making songs that are gay. But anyways, this is ironically kind of beautiful, right? Like it's a very like clearly like a good song. Could be like if it was a real singer, right? Who could take it that extra level than AI could. But even then, like it's enough there that you're like, this is a musical piece, and you're like. We started out joking and tried to like push it to its like furthest extremes with no direction of just being silly and dumb. And it ended up making something pretty kind of poetic and like, it's pretty funny. And so all that said, like, I just think that song is probably like one of the best turnouts. I have another one, but it's a little explicit just because of the context, because you know, here's my warning for anyone who's listening who doesn't want to hear, you know, perhaps more profane language like rap. Then don't listen. Okay, skip ahead. Right? It's about a 3-minute song, so you're gonna skip over that for like the next skip 4 minutes ahead. All right. This song is it gay though? Which asks the philosophical question: is it gay to suck your own dick?
Oh my gosh.
Yo,
It sounds like white boy rap.
homies.
Here we go.
Yo, I was chilling with the homies, just shooting the breeze, when one of them said something that knocked me to my knees. He was like, bro, if you could, would you suck your own dick? I was like, hold up, man, that's a real quick trick. But then it got me thinking, like, what's the deal? If you do it to yourself, does that make it real? Is it gay, though? I mean, it's just me, but now I'm all confused, like, what's the decree? Is it gay if you suck your own dick, or is it just some self-love, like you flicking the wrist? If you jack it, is that gay, too? I'm just trying to figure out what's the proper view. I mean, think about it. We all been there. When you alone at night, you put your hand in the air, you handle your biz, and that's just routine.
I don't know anyone who
ever said
has ever thrown their hands in the air to
further put my
jerk
mouth in the game. Is it different from a hand, or is it all the same? Yo, I ain't trying to be crude, just asking the facts. If I love myself enough, is that crossing the tracks? Is it gay if you suck your own dick, or is it just some self-love, like you flicking the wrist? If you jack it, Is that gay too? I'm just trying to figure out what's the proper view. Now hold up, what if it's just a form of self-care? Like brushing your teeth or combing your hair. Ain't nobody judge you when you look in the mirror. So why is this so different, man? Why all the fear? Let's break it down. It's just anatomy, right? If you touch yourself, it's cool, it's out of sight. But if you bend down low, give yourself a little taste. Is it really any different or just matter of taste? I'm just trying to keep it real, no shame in the game. If
Bro,
I'm loving
you can't hold me
myself,
responsible.
who's to
This is
blame?
what
So
the
is it
AI
gay,
generated.
though? That's the question today. But if it is, then what about the other way? Is it
Is it
gay?
gay, though?
If you suck your own dick, or is it just self-love like you flicking the wrist? If you jack it, is that gay too? I'm just trying to figure out what's the proper view. Yo, at the end of the day, it's all just play, whether it's hand or mouth, man. Who's to say? But I'ma leave it here. Let y'all debate. Is it gay if you do it, or is it just fate?
Dude, tell me that's not like one of the most like that could be on the radio, bro, with modern day mumble rap. Anyways,
Oh my gosh.
all right, I have one final one for you. One final one. And this, is just to show absolute beauty of what this music could do. Okay. It is silly because the premise is I gave it the prompt, a summary of a single session of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of made it as a joke, but it turned out awesome. And my buddy was helping me. He was like, yeah, maybe we could try to see if it could do it in the style of Shakespearean sonnet. And a Shakespearean sonnet is the rhyming scheme is like line A, line B, line A, line B, line CC, line DD, line EE, repeat.
I wonder if it wrote it because also it's supposed to be written in iambic pentameter as well. I wonder if it hit that as well.
You could probably know that by listening to it,
hear
right?
It's about the syllable breakdown, but we'll see.
So this was designed, I was trying to really get it to do Gregorian background chanting in traditional English folk, but with an R&B rap, famous 2010 male R&B pop artist, male singer. Okay, so what I was really shooting for was this, and I'm only going to play a second of it because I don't want us to get like necessarily flagged, right? But give me a second. I'm pulling up the inspo. Well, I guess while I'm trying to get it to load, because the computer's taking a second, do you have any idea who that might describe, Pat? That genre? Gregorian chanting in the background, 2010s male R&B pop singer. This is the story of Ugnug the Bugbear Barbarian and Dion the Leonin Paladin.
In lands of far, where shadows thick do dwell, lived Ugnug, a bugbear fierce and wild. With strength unmatched, he fought with primal yell. Beside him stood brave Dion the lion's child, a paladin with sword and holy might. Together they did face the demon's rage, but in a clash against darkness endless night, Ugnug did fall, his soul bound in a cage. From death's cruel grasp, a journey bold to hellish depths, where souls are sold.
Breakdown.
Through fire and blood, a bond is made, a tale of valor,
Good build or long.
to fade.
It builds.
Mournful beyond it pledge his sword,
All right, so we're brought back into the
to
pop.
rescue Ugnug from the fiery pit. He sought out Sir Benedict of noble word, a knight of old with wisdom finely lit. To the nine hells their path was set in stone, through gates of flame where devils hold their reign. With courage vast they ventured all alone, to free their friend from everlasting pain. Oh, courage bright, in darkness forged and bled, in realms where even angels fear to tread. Through trials grim, where hope seems but a rain, they battled on with love, their guiding faith. Through Stygian depths where rivers run with fire, they fought through hordes of demons vile and felt. Their bond of steel did never once expire, as they defied the lords who reign in hell. In burning fields where shadows dance and leer, Sir Benedict with valor led the charge, while Dion's roar struck terror, none did cheer. For foes were met with justice fierce and large. From death's cruel grasp, a journey bold, the hellish depths where souls are sold.
I sent you the lyrics too.
Fire and blood, a bond is made, a tale of valor never to fade. At last they reached the throne where Ugnum lay, in chains of sorrow bound by demon's hand. A trial by combat the devils did array, to earn his freedom in this cursed land. With mighty swings the battle
Halfway through
did
verse 4.
ensue,
Yeah.
as Dion fought with all his heart and soul, while Benedict, with strikes both swift and true, laid waste to foes to make their brother whole. The fight was fierce with blood and sweat and streams, but victory was seized by valiant might. Ugnut was freed from hell's most wicked dreams, and with his friends returned to morning's light. They stood as brothers, forged by fire and strife, their bond now stronger than the sharpest blade. In tales of yore, their deeds shall spring to life, as legends bold, their fame shall never fade. Oh, courage bright, heart is forged and bled.
I had to extend it because it has a 4-minute cap, so you have to extend it.
Through trials grim, where hope seems but a wreath, they battled on with love, their guiding faith. So let this tale be sung in every hall of Ugnut, Dion, and Sir Benedict brave. Upon the conquered death, defying all, in heart and soul they found the strength to save. No demon's grasp, nor hellish curse could stand against the might of love and friendship's light. They carved their names in time's eternal sand, as heroes bold who triumphed in the night.
And then it kind of does like a repeat of the bridge in like verse 3, but pretty sick, right,
Yeah.
dude? Isn't that insane?
Oh yeah,
So, dude,
it's just wild.
AI music, I think it's gonna kill like anyone who's not serious about making good music.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is like this works insanely well
Mm-hmm.
on a basis of workshopping an idea and a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're not very musically inclined,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you like the idea of like, oh, that
The
could be
blocks
the
to build
beat.
it.
Yeah. And then like but you know what I would sooner do for like like one of the country songs, rather than
Mhm.
having it sound like Bender the robot from Futurama singing it,
Mm-hmm.
I would send that then to a, you know, country artist you can hire on Fiverr who's like
Right.
just making recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, hey man, like, can you hit these notes?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just dub you in over the track. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You don't even have to
Yeah.
play an instrument. And like, then you get like a real authentic voice with like
Mhm.
a little bit of that charisma and like twang and like, you know, a little bit of the kind of like, improvisation that
Mhm.
like a real musician might have.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have like a real musician also like give you the feedback of like, yeah, I mean, this is like
Mm-hmm.
elementary decent, but like we could
Mm-hmm.
push it a little bit further and like really kind of refine the tone and like, you know, the way it carries out. And like,
Mhm.
so I really do think like one, I'm sure every major record label is doing this right now.
Using it for their concept pieces and using it in the
Mhm.
back of stuff too.
Yeah. Before then they just give it to, you know, whoever they're trying to pump up.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like, I mean, I think this is the way to go now. Like I can never imagine anyone opening up like another like studio mixing system
Mm-hmm.
to create all these things from scratch
Mm-hmm.
when you could just get this and then sample from all these tracks royalty free.
Mm-hmm.
You never have to worry about anyone suing you over licensing.
Yep.
Because it's all AI generated and so it's royalty free. And like if someone's like, well, they're building it off of someone else's music. It's like, okay, then sue the people making the AI. But like creators using it to then sample and mix and pull their things off of and then use it as inspiration to create their work. I don't really think there's like grounds to sue them.
Right.
It's kind of like the same thing of like someone wants to sue Midjourney for Midjourney using their photos and artwork to train their model off of. Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have it in paperwork where they have the right to do so, then go for it. But you shouldn't be suing the people using Midjourney,
right,
to create original works of art that are, you know, maybe aesthetically similar, but like, I mean, come on, man. Like, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun.
It gets hard to, it gets hard to litigate it one way or the other. Yeah, and I think that it's just crazy how fast, how long does it take for those to generate?
10 seconds. I can generate you a song right now. You give me give me anything you want me to generate right now. I'll do it on the fly, live, unedited.
All right.
I mean, this is edited, right? Like this is edited before it goes to listeners, but I'm going to do it right now. And Pat is ear to God, not going to edit it.
All right. Let's do
here's the first thing you got to do. Just tell me the style of music and then we'll discuss the lyrics.
Yeah.
But first tell me the style.
I want pop punk. I wonder if you should, or it should be punk pop, for them, punk pop style.
Got a decade that you like? 90s pop punk?
No, we're going to do 2010s. No, we got to go earlier. Just 2000s.
2000s punk rock pop. Male, female vocalist?
Male vocalist. Can it do a female duet in the choruses?
I'll try.
We'll see what it does.
Male vocalist, female duet, chorus. Anything else? Any other genre stuff? Any other like emo, alt, rock, folk pop, punk, grunge punk?
I think we can stay there. We can stay there for this one.
Okay. All right. Lyrics. What tell me just like the main concept the lyrics should be about.
I want it to be about somebody who lost their Game Boy. And
where'd they lose it?
Well, they lost their Game Boy.
Like in the supermarket?
At the supermarket. That's a great place. That's where those get lost. And that they're experiencing, emotional baggage from this event, and their parents just don't understand them and won't buy them a new one.
Experiencing emotional baggage from losing their Game Boy.
Yeah, their parents don't understand them.
Their parents, however, just don't seem to understand. Watch it do it to like, it's going to sound like, oh, hey, Mickey, you're so fine, Mickey. It is going to do it like to that punk pop song.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just still typing it out.
No, you're good. I'm thinking of any other like things to change in the genre, like to help it get where it needs to go.
Won't buy the child a new Game Boy. All right. You ready?
Ready.
All right. I'm going to tell it to generate the lyrics. Right now, I'm clicking the button to tell it to generate lyrics based off that prompt. Time code's going. We'll see how long it goes.
And it may, we got an old.
There we go. Generated lyrics.
They're done. There we go.
It's only 772 characters, so it's going to be real poppy.
That's
verse,
fine.
Verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus. All right, you ready?
Oh, yeah.
It's called title. The title generated is Lost Game Boy Blues. And it always generates two versions simultaneously. And it will never generate anything longer than 4 minutes unless you tell it to extend it. And you can rate them, thumbs up, thumbs down based on how they went. But here we go. Game Boy Blues.
Today reason why. Game Boy boy lost, Game Boy gone.
Let's go.
Feels like a sad song.
She's in there.
Long that don't understand. Lost my world right from my hand. Supermarket shelf so bare. Memories in flashing glare. No more Mario, no more fun. Parents say just go outside, run. Oh the pain, oh the loss. Underneath fluorescent gloss. All the quests I couldn't save. Beneath the tiles where dreams
Oh,
gave.
nice.
So dramatic.
Feels like a sad song. Mom and dad don't understand. Lost my world right from my hand.
All right, let's just see what the other iterations.
I searched every
Feeling a little
eye
yellow
today.
card in this one.
It's gone away. Parents say it's
perfect. They had that
just
Sum
a
41
toy,
a little on the
but
first
they
one.
loved
Yeah.
a boy. Back at home, there's nothing there. Game Boy lost, Game Boy gone. Heartache feels like that.
I don't think that's a duet in that one. All right, let's see if this one does a duet.
I searched every aisle today.
It's definitely a girl. Girl singer. Trash. Immediately trash
We'll
it.
see if he might come in. I don't know.
Oh, well, you said male vocalist. That's why I trashed it.
Oh, that's fine.
But this hole they've left, oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, shit, there's some emotion in
Back at
there.
home, there's nothing there.
Little Avril Lavigne in there.
Very.
Basking nights into thin air. Mom and dad, they simply sigh. Can't they see the reason why? Game Boy lost, Game Boy gone.
I still don't think there's a duet in the chorus on that one.
Let's get a good little drum intro on that.
I searched every aisle today.
Still girl.
It's gone
Yeah.
away.
They lost the phase.
Don't understand. Lost my world.
All right.
But like, do those not? Those sound like?
yeah, dude, they
your-
sound like the
that
song.
sounds
bro.
like what you'd be like in my middle school, early high school. Like that's what's hitting the radio.
Yeah. No, they seriously do. Let me go to the library here. I'll show you. There's one I wanted to show because Billie Jean generated a pretty good one called College Goodbye. Yeah.
You should save all these. We're gonna put them up.
All the Game Boy ones or just
Or
all
no,
of
no.
them?
Just, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, just like we should. I think we are. We're gonna.
That's what I'm
put
saying. We got to put them up.
We're gonna put a
My whole
playlist out
plan is
there.
to,
Yeah.
here's my agenda.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to call the playlist songs to sneak into other playlists.
Mm.
So that way people are like bopping and they're like, wait, is this a song?
Yeah.
Is this a song about a guy and his hunting buddy?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's on the Tyler. It like
Yeah.
makes it up to like the Tyler Childers radio.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. All right. College Goodbye, breakup song, 120 BPM, guitar, ballad bridge, teen country, pop singer, violin.
Ooh, nice.
She watched him pack his bags in the morning. Her smile hid the tears that were torn. Two hearts once so close, now forlorn. He's gone on to find a new dawn. He drove off with dreams in his eyes, left her under the pale blue skies. She whispered softer, faint goodbyes, masking all her quiet cries. College goodbye, it's a hard road, walking this path all alone. Heartsick and the miles have grown. She wonders when he'll be home. College goodbye, it's a hard road, walking this path
No, this isn't like a,
alone.
Swiftie song.
Yeah.
All right, this one is Billie Jean's second attempt, or first. This was her first attempt. The College Goodbye was her second one.
Mm.
This one was her trying to recreate a boy band.
Little One Direction.
Exactly.
Little Jonas
She really
Brothers
wanted
in
to be
there.
One Direction.
Okay.
And so she gave it teen pop, upbeat, positive boy band, synth beats, clapping, love song, 2010s. It is called Date for Prom.
Yeah. This will sell, dude.
Coming soon, no. Gotta find someone to go. Don't wanna dance all alone. Heart racing, can't be sure. Got my tuck shoes shine bright. Can't wait to dance all night.
Different male singer.
Yeah.
Need a date by my side. Wanna make this night bright. Need a date for party, it's true. Feeling lost, don't wanna blue. Just one chance to make it right.
The ladies will dance on the dance floor to this song.
Yeah. And every guy will pretend to be the dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's wild.
Now, let me just show you too, though, something sick.
Mm.
And this is kind of like where I kind of want to cap it off, right?
All right.
I'm going to play you some songs in the background, and they're just the instrumental songs. And the instrumental songs have been improving over time.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm just going to go to my thumbed up songs and, excuse me, just start playing through these so that way. These are inspired to be like 80s krautrock, gloomcore rock, down-tempo, ambient, echoing soundscapes.
Mm.
And the whole idea is like this is just atmospheric, like soundtrack level for like movies, shows, games, stuff like that, right? Because I think like you listen to this and there's never going to be a moment where you're going to like in the back of your mind while we're hanging and talking, you're never going to be like, wait, that's not good enough.
Right.
Like that's not going to pass for a game. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of people might not know, but Pat is an actual musician.
Yeah.
Pat has led many a worship team and has been playing. How long you been like singing, jamming for in your life? Like when did you start?
13.
Okay, yeah. So you've been doing it a while, like over half your life now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, I guess like 13 really when I picked up a guitar, and then 14, 15, we were off and going then. Yeah, for sure. So, it's weird because I do like, I really enjoy playing around, having fun with AI. We use it for our artwork for our show. Like, even this stuff sounds great. And then like these songs we're throwing together, it's like they're pleasing to the ear and stuff. And like, I think that, I think it's really fun as like a hobby or like messing around. And then, but it is like kind of sad the fact that like this, what we're listening to right now would have taken a huge team of people, a lot of time in a studio to make happen. And so it's like I think that there's a couple like things around the AI conversation, specifically with music, would be that you could say that music's done, music's dead in the sense of like, I don't. It'd be hard for even like a trained producer, I think, like to pick this out as, at some of those other songs, the full songs with lyrics, there's stuff, but like this, like background stuff you're playing, it's like, it'd be pretty hard, I think, to pick out that like this was generated. Whereas like the first AI images that were really coming out, like
they were,
and they still kind of are. They're you could just something about your eyes seeing them. You're like the uncanny thing in there that's like. Even the super real looking ones are like, oh, that's AI, but it's definitely with the video. But then with the music, it's just taken off so fast. And, really, and while people are up in arms about this right now, big time.
Oh yeah. People are losing their mind because they're like, what am I supposed to do for work now? I'm like, I'm literally creating these sounds, bringing people in, recording and mixing all day. That's my whole job. And now like, I just got laid off because, the rapper can just sit down and just infinite click of tracks generated as long as he's got the credits to do it.
Right. And I'd say, well, the crazy thing though about music though is we kind of had already arrived there in a lot of ways. Like with like people have already been using backing tracks and not just like, not talking about where you whatever sampling, but I'm talking about, where they're using already like most of the drums you listen to are all, they're all
it's all like pre-recorded drums
put in there, and so they're put in perfectly in time and stuff. And then you have just like even with the auto tune, and like people experience this where you go see an artist live and you're like, oh, they're not that good, like they can't sing that good, like and so we've already kind of in a lot of ways we already were there with like, and just in general like the quality of music that passes for music, and then like whatever, like SoundCloud artists and like, whatever, like everybody's a DJ or like type stuff. And so I think that with this, going back to what we were talking about earlier, where I think it will be a cool tool for helping you build stuff, especially one-man show type stuff. You can really make stuff happen fast, and I think that so I think that this will separate out the people who really want to go for it and be creative and do their own stuff. And then, and then the industry that was already kind of in already like radio hits for the last, 15 years have been, already pretty much just synthesized. And so the one thing that does bum me out would be like, what about the next, like the people who are being born right now, what's their like,
are they going to pick up an instrument?
What will they pick up an instrument? What's their musical experience like? Are they just going to pick up a MacBook, or like, what's the like, and I think that they will, but like just their relationship with music, I think will be so different. And like,
yeah.
And the music industry is already like so saturated with like people are coming out with songs every day. Like, and the cool thing about things like SoundCloud, Spotify, that's how people have gotten seen, they're gotten their stuff out there, gotten known, haven't had to sign to big record labels, and do it that traditional path. And so there's good and bad that comes with it, either way. So it's cool. Like, we'll use, I for like applications like this, for instance, like if I want to do some video production stuff and I want to put out something,
and you don't want to get flagged with royalty-free stuff?
Yeah, and or just you want to have something that really fits what you want in that moment. You can just boom, 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 get it, like put it together and then put it in the background. Like the Whiskey on the Jukebox song, I was like, that should play in the back of a movie.
Yeah,
like
right.
while someone's in a bar, that could play and it'd totally pass.
Yep,
just
no copyright laws.
Yeah, for the ambience of the scene. And so, it's like there's just good and bad that's going to come with it. And it's so we'll see if the main thing is where, will this give the little man the leg up, or is it just the big corporation going to be able to like just even make more money off it? Because once an artist signs their name to them, and then once an artist signs their voice to them,
yeah,
they only have to go in for 3 days, sing for a couple hours at a time, and now they have the catalog, that sort of thing. So it's going to be just a different world to navigate. One area where I don't like it though, where like let's take it into like where my main field has been in like the worship music industry. There's just something bastardized about like singing a song to God written by a computer.
Yeah,
like I don't know. There's something there for me that's like.
Let me challenge you on that.
Yeah.
Let me be devil's advocate just to challenge you, right? Because I also agree it is weird. Mm-hmm. But I've seen a couple of people saying like, dude, these lyrics, like I told the AI, like we trained the AI on scripture. Like we gave it the Bible to train on. Right. You know what I mean? And then it's like, all right, and here's like worship songs that are successful or like, not necessarily successful, but like appeasing worship songs. Mm-hmm. So then the AI generated some and it was like totally fine worship song. Right. I was watching the YouTube video and I was like, dude, yeah, like I actually think those lyrics are good and I think everything's fine. Like, if you told me that it wasn't generated by AI, I'd believe it. And I think that is kind of the weird thing when we get technical, right? Right. Like, because this is the devil's advocate argument, right? It's like, Pat, you use a guitar, and there's guys up there with a drum kit and a bass guitar, and there's some people who say like those are all perversions of worship. That worship should only be the sound of the human voice, and that's why there's like still whole worship, not sermons,
churches that don't use
churches that are like only a cappella. There is no instruments allowed, not even an organ. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, where's the line? Yeah, where do we toe the line on that?
No, yeah, I think there's a great conversation on this whole thing because like. Let's say even like prior to the AI conversation I've had for a long time, struggle and trouble with like the worship music industry because it has become a very monetized industry as well, where you have certain big churches just cranking out singles. Yep. Right.
And it sounds shallow. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Good Father. I think Good God Father to me is a perfect worship song. It's never been repetitive to me or dull or boring. But when people are like, that's a dull, boring worship song, and I get really sick of it, I'm like, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I've never felt that way. It's been, it's out, but it's, you know, there's a personal connection to that song. And so with that, like, it's very like, it's not like worship music was a pinnacle of musical genius a lot of times, right? Like the last worship song that maybe was a stroke of absolute musical genius was perhaps like
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace. Yeah, I was trying to like Amazing Grace. Yeah,
and
that's, that might be the last one, right?
I was going to bring up that too, where like, because part of my problem with it too, like I think that AI could write theologically sound music. I think it could actually write songs that are better for congregations to sing, because lots of music has moved away from corporate worship, where the point is to gather together and sing it.
Performative.
Right? It's more performative, and or like it'd be better for you to like listen to on your own.
Yeah.
Right. And theologically, some of the songs we do with it, like people that are cranking out, are very they're kind of getting into deeper waters than they know, and then everybody's singing about stuff that like they don't like. Do you know the implications of what you just said? Like you're singing like you're singing like some like big, like you sang a verse from Revelation, and like that's a heavy hitter. And like,
do you really want to sing that over yourself?
Yeah. Do you believe that? Do you? Yeah. So I think that like AI in some of those ways could come out with like even, you know, more like more
I just got a stroke of genius.
You know, more theologically sound things on there and better corporate worship. But then if you go over like just some songs that I was going to list off, which are like, and there's tons out there, like Amazing Grace one for sure, How Great Thou Art, moving up way up the line. We've got like, there was a great song, I Love You Lord, and then another one,
My Lighthouse.
Not that one.
My Lighthouse.
Nope, not that one. Revelation song. How He Loves, and like you said, Good Father.
How He Loves.
Right? And so like, and especially like those songs were, I believe, divinely inspired through the person writing it and their relationship with God. And there's really interesting stories through those, like especially like the last two I named, they got semi hijacked by like mainstream big artists, but those were written by
house
small
churches,
guys, like house churches, small guys.
Good Father is what put house churches on the map. I think.
House fires,
house fires, not house churches.
And then like John Mark McMillan was, you know, it wasn't Crowder who did that, but so like, anyways, like I think that the aspect of the divine inspiration in that of a person putting the lyrics down, that's what's robbed, and I don't think every single worship song is divinely inspired. Right. So I think a lot of it's just cranked out, or it's important, or it's valuable to that individual. But so I don't know, you know, I think that, you know, I think it could be used as a tool in some ways too, but then at the same, I think in the worship world and in the teaching world, like people using it to write sermons and stuff is also can be like semi dangerous waters in some ways. I think you could use it as a good research tool. But then let
me say to that point too.
Yeah.
As someone who heavily uses AI day in and day out, whether it's testing statistic models for machine learning or if it's like using language models, I have used AI to help prepare D&D sessions and story and help me like quickly flesh out plot points. Like I'll give it bullet points and help it answer questions that it needs like filled in. If I don't read what it puts out, there's often almost always conflicting detail or conflicting things said by different characters in reference to like information. And like when I say this, like I'm not talking even like a theatrical thing. I'm talking about like
that was just straight wrong. Just
a basis of information of like, you know, you're telling the players like, hey, here's your mission for tonight. And here's what you guys got to do. And if you read it without having like refined it and gone through and like kind of highlighted where it got wrong and corrected it, if you just read it off the prompt, it's going to give sometimes some pretty conflicting information on like what to do. And so like, I even think of it like business wise. I know people are like just totally letting it generate their emails because like generate me a response to like someone that is like properly like telling them off but business wise appropriate.
Yeah.
And people are copy pasting that and then getting in big trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so it's a
like there's in like, and then especially like if you take it to like a religious context, right? And like you don't proof sample that and you're just reading off AI notes, you could end up at a point where you're preaching and you're like, oh wait, this is not biblically sound. And you're like, so, and you got to like pivot on the fly, right? And then you're preaching, and then you're like actually speaking from the heart and not over something that's just generated.
Right. And there's differences too between like preaching and teaching in some ways too, where you'd say like, if you were to sit down and say, I'm going to tell you a Bible story. Okay. That could be, hey, you could use AI to summarize something, right? Hey, these 4 chapters, I want you to summarize that for me. Okay. You go through it. Okay. That's a pretty good little, that's, I think that's a fair use of it. Obviously it has to be proofed too, you know, but then like moving over into like matters of like converting that into like, here's the heart of the matter. Yeah. That's where it starts to get,
here's the real lesson.
That's kind of the lesson of the story, is where I think it also, that's where you can really kind of lose the grip on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, I know we kind of got off music, but like, I think everything you said, I totally agree with. And, you know, even though I'm playing devil's advocate, you know, I agree with everything you're saying. I do think though, like we're reaching a point too, where we've just talked about like we've talked about this before, like Google, when there was like, give me a picture of the founding fathers, and like, it's not the founding fathers. Right. And like, so it's one of those things of, you know, the data and the person who's setting variables in these models, that's the arbiter. That's who decides what the AI is going to put out. And so like, I do think though, like we'll reach a point here. I'll bet money on this, that we're going to come into a point in society. I don't know when, but we're going to come to a point where like we see, just as languages have died out or skills have died out, you know, we see all those things on like Business Insider of like how this Japanese monastery is still making this pastel color. Right. And it's like a craft that only like 2 people know how to do still. And if they die without passing that on, it's gone. Yeah. And I think like music will hit that. Like I genuinely think like there'll be times where it's like someone who still can play, you know, we had that whole thing where we spent on our favorite songs, favorite musicians. And like there'll be someone who is like pretty much just creating what we take for granted today, but it will be live, you know, and it'll be a person and it'll sell out. And like those people will be like the people who are passing on the craft, and like music lessons to learn an instrument will become, you know, insanely expensive and like, you know, hard to find a teacher who still remembers like musical theory when it comes to creating those, the songs. And so I do think it will become something that is like, it could become something where we lose our own knowledge of how to do it because so many people just take it for granted. And then it becomes like more and more, I'm trying to think of the word, rare, I guess, you know, just like rare that someone would know how to do that and create those tracks by hand. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, yeah, it's just, it's speeding up so fast. Yeah. Who knows what? I don't think we don't know the implications of the technology.
I'll tell you what though, I'm super stoked for the day it gets to like the point where like you can just type in what kind of movie you want. Yeah. it can be like 30 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever, and you can just watch that movie. Or like you and I could sit down and like we have the same prompt and experience 2 different like outcomes. Like we could like you know, Lord of the Rings, right? And like watch a Lord of the Rings, but like Frodo keeps the ring in my version, and then, you know, Sam betrays Frodo and pushes him into lava in your version, and like it's like, whoa, dude. And like we kind of like fanboy about that, you know, and like the different experiences.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think it has really cool applications.
Anyways,
yeah,
good stuff. We hope you enjoyed this. We'll try to figure out how to put some of these tracks up so you guys can download and listen to them as well. But yeah, thanks for joining us at the Mick and Pat Show. We covered a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff. If you got thoughts about AI, let us know. You know, we got comments on the YouTube. We got email. send us an email, give us feedback. If there's anything else you want us to cover, if you are someone who works in AI, love to talk to you. Love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
But with that, Pack, any sign-offs?
Just till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.